What's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood Sigils, and welcome to another episode of my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Realm Royale. What's Realm Royale, you ask? Well, I don't know why you would ask me that. It's pretty rude. Can't believe you don't know that. But it's the new Battle Royale that just dropped. There's now a third Battle Royale entering for contention. So we have PUBG, we have, of course, Fortnite, and now we have Realm Royale. Realm Royale is made by Hi-Rez Studios, who are the same people who make Smite and Paladins, so some really classic, great games. And they've now just released, on Steam, free to play, their version of a Battle Royale called Realm Royale. Now, immediately right off the bat, you're like, do we really need another Battle Royale? Is this something that we wanted? Did anybody ask for this? And the answer is yes, we do need this. We do want this. Realm Royale is an RPG-style Battle Royale. So what does that mean? It means so many things. It means it's class-based or like hero-based rather than just being like super realistic or zany like Fortnite. It has its own style and feel. We're going to break into it, but I wanted to tell you guys that this is a game worth playing, a game worth checking out, and to do that, I'm going to give you my top 10 things that I like about this game. Now, before we go into it, I apologize if I sound a little hoarse. If my voice is just sort of molesting your ears, I can't do anything about it, right? My body was like, hey, Andrew, you know what? E3's coming up. You need to record some videos. That's cool. You're just going to sound like you smoked your whole life, even though you don't. Without any further ado, let's get right into my top 10 things about Realm Royale, what I like, and why you should play it. Now, number 10, starting right at the top of the list, I mentioned that this was a class-based RPG-style Battle Royale, and now we're going to talk about that more because this class system is amazing. So when you load into the game, there are 5 classes that you can choose from. And they're your like basic standard RPG-oriented classes. You can be a warrior, you can be a mechanic, you can be a mage, you can be a hunter, or you can be an assassin. And choosing this class has a different implication for your playstyle in the game. Basically, it affects almost nothing. I'm kidding. It affects a few things, but it still leaves you a lot of freedom with how you want to play the game. Each class has its own passive. So for example, the assassin moves 10% faster, or the warrior regenerates health over time, or the hunter can reload and switch weapons faster. Okay, so they each have a different passive ability. And then there are actual abilities in the game. So when you loot chests, you have a chance to find a gun, but you also have a chance to find an ability. You have 2 weapon slots and 2 ability slots that you can use. There are 4 abilities for each class, which can be picked up and chosen at will for you to pick up. So like if you're playing as the assassin and you get the smoke bomb, you can pick that up, or if you don't like it, you can pick up one of the other abilities or whatever. It's your choice. Each class has one legendary weapon that's class specific. So the assassin gets a sniper rifle, the hunter gets a really powerful bow, the warrior gets a throwing axe. That weapon can only be used by that class, just like the abilities can only be used by that specific class. So choosing your class gives you a playstyle. And this is really, really cool because each one has a different art style. You can tell what's going on. They also each have their own movement ability that affects kind of how they play. So like some of them have a leap. The mage can fly, which is freaking fun, by the way. And the hunter can roll, etc., etc., etc. So it's a playstyle choice, but you can use it to build composition. So in squads, you could have one guy who's like your support player who's playing the mechanic, and then you have a sniper and your assassin, and then your frontline and warriors, etc., etc. You can actually kind of draft compositions around playstyle to set you up with the best chance of winning. And that's something fresh and different, and I like it. Number 9, the next thing that I love is just the landing in this game. And that sounds so silly. But look, this game is high octane. The battle is intense, the action is intense, and you just feel powerful, right? You feel like an RPG. So when you jump out of that steampunk airship, you don't have a parachute. You Hulk smash into the ground. You go flying down, no coasting, no nothing, no pull and shoot. You just smash into the ground and you feel epic. And I don't know why, but just like that sets the tone for me for the game every time. When I smash in the ground, I'm like, yeah! So I just really love that style choice. Also, the lack of a parachute means you can't coast as much, and that plays into some other things we're going to talk about in a minute. Next up, the next 3 things we're going to talk about are all kind of related, but I'm going to work through them one at a time. So number 8 is that this has a giant map. Now, the map is beautiful. I love it. It has this crazy art style. Some people have said it's like playing a World of Warcraft Battle Royale, and I totally get that feel. It feels very RPG. Feels like a fully built world instead of like in PUBG where it's a particular map, or Fortnite, which is just sort of like a cool area. Now, usually, I'm opposed to big maps, right? I didn't like PUBG's map size because I felt like it was sort of unwieldy. Not good to, it was easy to get stranded. It felt a little unbalanced and a little like, oh, I have to walk for 3 years before I'll catch up to the circle. Fortnite combated this by making a smaller map. But the thing about Fortnite that's starting to bother me is the map's really small. I get bored. I've landed all those places over and over and over again. So how do you balance needing a lot of variety and different places to play with not wanting people to get stranded, having to run for years to get inside the circle, and dealing with just like that, those two tension points. Those are two very hard things. So number 7 is tied into this, which is that before you jump out of the airship, they show you the first circle. So basically, it means that there's chunks of the map that are not going to be used every time, right? There's a desert zone, there's a forest zone, there's a snow zone, and sometimes the map will be cut in such a way by the circle that you're like, nobody's going to the snow zone. Like, don't even bother. That's not in this game. And that's okay, because the game still plays fast. It still keeps players close together so the action is up, but it means that with different circles, you actually end up going around the map more often. And I think that keeps the map fresh and interesting. It means every time I'm landing somewhere new. I'm having to deal with a new circle. On Fortnite, I feel like the drops get a little repetitive because it's like there's only like 5 or 6 real bus paths, and then it's like, well, okay, when the bus goes here, I drop to like these 2 locations because I know they're going to be like the right level of like spiciness or not spiciness or whatever I'm looking for if I'm trying to play late game, early game, etc., etc. This, I like that it changes every time, and it's almost like we're playing on 4 different maps, but they're all in the same area and they're connected and they kind of bleed together. It keeps like, I think it's going to keep a high replayability that we don't necessarily have before. Tying into that, number 6 is this game has horses. So I said all 3 of these were tied in together. Let me explain to you why it's cool. Everybody has a built-in mount. You can press Z and summon your mount. And this also helps to tackle the big map danger, which is like in PUBG, they had vehicles, right? They're like big map vehicles. But if you didn't find a vehicle, you could get screwed, right? And vehicles were kind of a power weapon. You could like roll up as a squad shooting out of it, or you could park it and use it as cover or something like that. The horses affect gameplay in no way other than they help you move faster. So you can summon your mount, you cannot shoot from your mount, and if you take damage, your mount will be despawned immediately. So it's just to help you get from point A to point B so you don't get stranded by circles, or you can be a little bolder and go a little further out from a circle or something like that. Really, really helps you play the map and take advantage of the big map without slowing down action, without making you feel like you're really separated, and without ruining everything. Also, mounts are like Skyrim where they can just go up anything like mountains, and so it helps you get to cool areas that maybe you couldn't just by walking. So I love the mount integration. It really, really ties everything together. And so those 3 things are all kind of one thing, but they're also each their own element that has a lot of cool counterplay to it. I love 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 it. Next up, this one is just kind of a small thing. We'll talk about it. But your pings, like if you place a marker on the map, not only is it visible on the map, but it's visible in-game. It shows up as this giant beacon of light. So your teammates can't be like, oh, I didn't see your ping. I didn't know where to go. You're literally your player's color, team ping, boom, beacon into the sky. It's just a nice little touch to make things more communicative, to help people see where they need to go. I love it. Nice little touch. Boom. Very, very easy. We're getting bigger. All right, we're getting bigger. This game has a really high time to kill. Now, if you don't know what that means, that basically means you have a lot of health and you don't die instantly. I have not been one-pumped in this game like I get in Fortnite. Also, shotguns don't hit for 7. It's so nice. But what that means is that fights in this game actually kind of are drawn out and really, really coordinated. Now, if you catch somebody in a bad spot, you can really, really melt them. But you can't kill them instantly. They usually have time to react, and you have to outplay them consistently to get the kill. I really, really like that, especially because the game doesn't actually have a solos mode. It's only duos and squads. I don't know if that's permanent, but this game is really built around teamwork. So, like, you might hurt a guy, and then your teammate flanks him to finish him, kind of thing. It's a lot about team shooting and controlling areas, which I think is one of the things I love about FPSs the most is teamwork. And so I'm really, really excited to see how this plays out. I really, really like how the battles feel. They're very, very intense. You have to hit multiple shots. It's not easy, in my opinion. I think it's very, very hard. It feels almost like Halo-esque in the way that you have to kill people, how hard you have to work to kill people, and that's great. I love it. I hope that remains. I hope they don't speed that up at all. Okay, next up we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, forges. What's a forge, you ask? Well, let me explain really quick the looting system. Now, when you get loot, if you find a piece of loot you don't want, you can immediately break it down for something called shards. Now, these shards are important. You can hold up to 200 of them, and if you go to a forge, you can use it to craft a weapon. Now, a forge is in every single town. There's one forge per major town, and it's like essentially a control point or a power position. You go into the building, you access the forge, and you say, hey, take my shards and craft me either a random legendary piece of armor, a random legendary skill for my profession, or the legendary weapon for my profession. Now, to craft a legendary weapon, you also have to have gotten a kill. So that's like an ultimate snowball. This game actually plays kind of like a MOBA too, in that there's a snowball in power. You start off very weak compared to how very strong you can get, but you have to actively be doing it. So you go and do that, and then it takes about a minute to craft each of these items. So you actually have to defend the forge from other teams in order to be able to pick up your weapon and use them against other people. And here's why I love this. I think that one of the biggest problems with a BR when I'm playing a Battle Royale is I don't really know where to go. Objectives make games fun. So in a Battle Royale, the goal is kill the other team, right? Stay inside the circle, don't die. But when you get to those kind of mid-game circles where the circle's sort of big, but not really, but you haven't seen anyone in a while, you don't really know where to go, forges help force fights, right? So you go to a town and you're like, I'm going to check the forge. I'm going to check the forge. Like, you know where people are. If you want to control a town, you have to own the forge. Otherwise, people are going to be making power weapons that are going to take the town from you. Also, each forge can only craft one of each of the 3 weapon categories for you each time. So you can craft, and then you have to go to another forge if you want to get another piece of legendary armor. It means that you actually have kind of like a rotation or a looting pattern you can move through that makes sense, and that'll drive conflict. Again, this also tackles the big map question. This is how you get to still have action and conflict, even though it's a big map. And I love it. It's just a really, really cool system. It's really controlled because it kind of limits the like RNG in some ways. If you want a gold weapon, you can just go craft one. All you have to do is kill somebody. Fantastic idea. I'd love to see more things like this in Battle Royales moving forward. Speaking of which, now let's talk about the second favorite thing that I really like, which is the loot. Now, the way the loot works is they all come from chests. There are 3 kinds of chests. There's the general chest, which can have everything. There's the medkit chest, which can drop either health potions or armor potions, which like just repair your armor. So your armor rating's based off of the armor that you find in loot. And then a repair potion will just repair a certain amount of those points. And then the third chest is a weapon chest, and it always drops 2 weapons. So those are the 3 chests. Now, the regular chest can also drop weapons, armor, healing, or abilities. And that's where you get your core loot. Now, I think the way it works is when you open a chest, it will check what class you are, because I've never had something drop from a chest that wasn't for my particular profession. So like if I'm a warrior and I open it and it decides to drop an ability, it's going to drop a warrior ability. But if my teammate who's a mage had opened it, I'm pretty sure it would have dropped a mage ability. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I don't have confirmation on that, but that's what I've noticed so far. Everything has a tier system, just like loot in an RPG or kind of like in Fortnite, right? So there's not a lot of guns. There's about 5 or 6 different guns that you can get, but then they all have a common version, a green version, and a purple version. So 3 tiers, and that works for abilities too. That affects damage, cooldown, etc., general performance. So you might drop a sword, which by the way, there are swords in this game and they're really, really fun. You might have a gray sword and then you can drop it and pick up a green sword, which hits a little bit harder, swings a little bit faster. It's just like that classic loot system, which I really like that they're doing in Battle Royales, where there's not a ton of weapons you have to learn. Like, I only need to know what 4 weapons do, and then I just need to get the better version of it. Very, very clean, very, very simple. I also like the armor aspect. I like how it feels very medieval. It's like, oh, I need to get boots, I need to get gloves, I need to get chest pieces, etc., etc. And it kind of buffs up your character as you go. Armor plays a huge portion of this, and you need to make sure to keep that repaired, because that's how you're going to win a lot of gunfights. And last, but not least, absolutely not least, the #1 favorite thing about this game are the chickens. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're like, chickens? What are you talking about? Chickens? You've not been paying attention. Realm Royale has a very unique downing system, which is when you get down, you turn into a chicken. Okay? Don't ask me how they came up with this. I don't want to know what drugs they're on. I just know it's very fun. When you're a chicken, you have full control. You can run, you can jump, you can even fit through tiny windows. If you manage to stay alive as a chicken for 30 seconds, you get resurrected. Now, your teammates can't pick you up. It's not like Fortnite when you're down that somebody can go over and protect you, but you also don't bleed out. You have to be finished. So this actually changes the down mechanic in a way that I really, really like. If you think about it, take Fortnite, for example, or PUBG. If you're in a squad battle and one of your teammates goes down, what does the other squad do? They know they can push because you actually had a double disadvantage. You now have a ticking time clock on your team of when your teammate's going to die if you don't touch him, right? Otherwise, you have to take at least 1 player out of the fight to heal him, and it becomes a 2-on-4, right? If you have 2 squads of 4 fighting, you have a teammate picking up your down teammate. That's 2 people not shooting at the enemy team, and only 2 people left to shoot at the other 4. This actually shifts the balance of power a little bit to make downing not OP in a team fight. If you down somebody, yes, now only 3 people are going to be shooting at you, but now you have to push if you want to finish that guy off. Your team can set up to protect him, cover his lanes, keep people from getting too close, but your team actually has to take the initiative to finish that kill, and I really like this change. Also, it's hilarious. Little as you're running around is just hilarious, brilliant, honestly one of the coolest mechanics in the game. So guys, that is my top 10 list for Realm Royale. I think this is a great game. I think it's a wonderful addition to the Battle Royale genre. You should absolutely play it. It's free on Steam. Go check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you like to see 10 things I don't like about Realm Royale? I could do a second follow-up video. Ooh, think of all the views. But guys, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more Realm Royale, as well as a lot of other Battle Royale and fun times here on the channel. And I will see you guys very soon. Hey, buddy. Why the long face?